tutorial on how to throw a punch. A lot of times people just haven't trained on how to throw a punch. Typically, people might punch something like this, or that, or something in the ballpark of that. When in reality, punching and striking are a technically conditioned move. We just got through about, like an hour of training and drilling right now? So we're just kind of going to go over different things. Right now, this video, I'm going to do an overview of different drill exercises that help in the movement. In one of the katas that I learned from traditional Goju-ryu Okinawan style karate, which also translates into Muay Thai and a couple of other arts, is the idea of your stance, the foundation of what you stand on will dictate how well or how well you don't strike with your hands. And a big part about it is essentially the idea here is any kind of fighting situation, what's going to happen is whether it's in a consensual sports scenario or an unconsensual street scenario, what's going to happen is essentially you're going to find yourself going backwards. So the idea of getting a decent, appropriately, why do you keep walking away? Fighting stance is essentially when you're from a neutral position, you're like, look, I don't want to fight, one step back, and you drop your foundation a little bit so that way you have a little bit more balance, you're gripping the ground a little bit more, and essentially your feet tend to be a little bit more pigeon-toed in this scenario. So if we take a closer look at this, right, we're here, neutral stance, one small step back, and then you turn in your front foot and then push your knees out while gripping the ground. This is basic striking foundation stance, boom, boom, don't hurt me, bro, is kind of the scenario. But once you're in the situation, then it's the question of how do you throw a strike? Well, one of the basic movements in Goju-ryu karate, which is Senshin kata, for those of you who are familiar with it, one of the basic conditioning strength exercises they go into is ensuring that you know the basic body mechanic and movement of how to move. So usually in this case, it starts with stepping forward as opposed to a natural scenario where you step back. But assuming we step back and we have our hands here, the movement is, if we're in the scenario, so you get the movement right, the idea is your shoulders are pushed back, you have a tight core, your whole body is tight, and essentially your hand goes back, and then you do the screwing movement in terms of your hand going forward, striking with the first two knuckles, these knuckles being lined up all the way to your shoulder, and then from here, doing a block and coming back to the scenario. You step forward, hand comes back, strike, and then you block. And you can do this drill just to get the movement down in terms of how your stance is supposed to be, in terms of moving forward, moving back, moving side, and at the same time when you're throwing these punches, a lot of times people might make the mistake of punching like this or punching like this. Not to say that any of those are wrong, but the most effective way of throwing a punch is ensuring that you're hitting with the first two knuckles. In this case, you throw a jab, right? You're throwing a jab, you want to be able to protect yourself while you're throwing it, and it's also potentially to test the distance of somebody that's coming at you. Throw a jab, you throw a cross, and even in this cross, you notice I'm going from this position through the jab, an advancing jab, I threw a cross, and then from here, I throw a hook. And in each case, I'm moving my hips. I'm doing full extension of the arm in order to make contact. One of the things that you'll notice is a lot of times, although I'm saying strike here, when I'm throwing the cross, I'm turning my hand a little bit. Because if I'm actually making it through the individual, let's say I miss, right? I miss the individual, I'm protected on this side. Same thing with the cross. I'm protected on this side. So, but if you actually do make contact, you're making contact at this point, not at this point. But if you miss and they ducked it or slipped it, you can block and you can cross. That's what this whole, at least what I've understood from this kata, in terms of getting your footwork and movement right and your balance appropriate, in terms of how your hand moves, and at the same time when you do your push-ups, you do knuckle push-ups. This is one of the ways you can ensure that you can do your knuckle push-ups here, you can do your knuckle push-ups here, You can do your knuckle push-ups here. The idea, so you get your movement right. So this way, when you come to the bag, and this is where I'm gonna potentially in the future maybe share some drills in terms of what you can do to not only condition your knuckles, but get the movement right, because a lot of it is practice. When you're striking, I would say go slow, right? We talked about with the Hanshin kata, we're here, back, strike, back here, chamber, strike, back here, chamber, strike, back here. Once you get the movement right, then you can actually start throwing the punches. Slow. 1, 2, 3. Same thing with the cross. 2-step cross. Come closer. Take a look at the foot. First thing I do is not throw the hand. First thing I do is I drive my hips forward. Drive. Throw the punch. Back. Drive. Throw the punch. Back. Notice I'm not even striking. I'm just making the movement right. Boom. This could be also advancing jab. Boom. Boom. Again, advancing jab. Drive. Cross. And then in this case, if we're trying to practice the hook, usually if I hit the guy or they block it, they're going to come forward. But to simulate that kind of step forward, essentially with the hook, just dropping my weight a little bit more. Boom. Notice the positioning of the hand. Boom. It's still, my elbow, my butt is close to my body. Boom. And this is one of the ways you can practice a hook. What about the hook to the face? What if you want to knock him out? Same thing. You're here, boom, boom, boom. The whole idea here is you're not throwing your hand like that, right? You could, but the idea here is jab, cross, hook, hook, uppercut, uppercut, cross. In order to get any of these strikes in, you got to get your foundation right. What is that foundation? Making sure one step back, toes stepped in a little bit, get that movement right. You get that movement right, practice stepping sideways. This way, that way, forward, back, back, forward, back, sideways. When it comes to throwing the jab, advancing jab, advancing jab, retreating jab, retreating jab, advancing jab, advancing jab, retreating jab, retreating jab, advancing jab, cross, retreating jab, cross. And then from there, when you get that movement right, jab, maybe not advancing, but you just kind of like jab, cross, hook. And even if you're trying to do a block, block, hook, block, hook, block, cross. Notice the footwork. It's all in the movement of the hips. 1, 2. And it might help to even exaggerate. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Wow. Keeping that torso up, making sure you're looking at that opponent. Boom, 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 boom. But in order to be able to do that, you got to make sure your ability to move, your foundation, your balance is right. When you make those strikes, is the movement of your fist appropriate? And once you've got the movement of the fist appropriate, can you do those push-ups? And if you can do those push-ups, practice on that bag. You're here, boom, 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 boom. Don't even worry about hitting. Just move, move, move. That's an overview of how to punch. First to knuckles, lining up all the way to the shoulder. That energy, momentum, and drive is coming through the hips, off of the foundation of the floor. So that's the lesson for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment below. I'll see you soon.